One. We're in. We're fucking in after Cam's technical difficulties there, but welcome back, guys, to the right way.
I thought that was going to sound so crisp in everybody's ears, but
Cam's
no.
officially a PT now. He's got a road mic, so you know he's a PT.
Oh, mate, don't even, because I swear to you, I've been biting it for ages. I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But then I was like, it will be good because it will help a lot.
Yeah.
And then I came in the next morning and three of the other PTs in where I work have got it too. So we've
You're
all
like, I
got a
need
lot
one.
of
I need to be included.
shit. But no, it's all good. It's good to see them leveling up their content as well. And Um, yeah, I guess it's just better as well for like when you are filming. So I guess it's not so much of following the trend. I think it's just gonna make it's
No,
just
I
gonna
level
make the
up
content.
your content, and I'm pretty sure Instagram do promote like content with, if someone's going to look at it longer and, be able to hear you crisper, it is worth it in the long run. I was going to buy one myself, but I said to myself, until I start posting consistently, I got like a
Yeah.
£30 mic. Like, it's not bad. The
No, I was gonna
quality's
say.
fine, but there is some stuff like you can definitely tell the difference between the two.
Yeah.
But I said, if I start posting regularly and I stick at it for a bit, then I'll treat myself to like a nice mic.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for now, I got my little shitty microphone, which you'll see if you go to my Instagram. Just posted a video actually. Um, but yeah,
Lovely.
how's your week been, mate? Give me the update.
Yeah, not bad to be fair. I guess we'll always start with updates from coach. So I had check in on Monday. Um, I think we spoke about my weigh-ins last week, but I held
Sub
100.
100.
I held 100s for ages, but Monday morning, typical, we hit 99.6, and then I was 99.6 again this morning. So, um, yeah, I've had a 10 gram of fat deduction. So I'm now sub 2,000 calories per day. Um, but yeah, that's all me, mate. You?
Um, Nothing really, mate. There's nothing real. Off season is not fun updates. It's just,
Hmm.
oh, I will say I got 25 grams extra of carb, which is fucking nice. I finally got 100
Oh,
grams of oats in my first meal instead of 75, which is class. Um, Hunger and my appetite is very, very high at the moment, which is good, which is where we want it to be. Feeling strong. I did RDLs again yesterday. I got 144.9, which I think is one rep up, and execution was a bit better. There is still a few things I need to tidy up with that. When I do hip hinges, it's a common habit for people to make, but like when I go down to my hinge, I always like, if the first rep will always be like the distance between like my knee. You know what I mean? Like when you break at the knee and you're coming straight down, you want to keep the bar as close to your kind of like
yeah,
shins as possible. It goes out a little bit.
yeah,
I corrected it on the second and the third, and the
yeah.
rest of the reps, but that I just kind of want to make sure I've honed that in before I increase weight and go from there.
Yeah.
But aside from that, mate, nothing really new. Just getting on with it, just hammering it out, and yeah,
Your clients look like they're doing well.
yeah. Had Albert just finish his dieting phase, which was class, mate. I've never, like, if he's watching this, I have never seen anyone in my life rave so much. Like, I've said it like multiple times, bro. I've said it like multiple times on my stories, bro. This guy is at unts raves like 3 days of the week, like a week. He lives in Australia, and like from Friday till Sunday, it's literally just him at a rave. And like it did
What's the
wonders for
boy?
weight loss, but like his recovery, bro, like the amount of time, like don't get me wrong, it definitely could have been a quicker kind of fat loss, but it was just kind of managing his fatigue with like the training we were already doing. And
Yeah.
like I didn't want to. There's always a quicker way we can do stuff, but I think especially with lifestyle clients, you have to kind of, you know, as a coach, take a step back and think about like what is going to allow this person to still live their life, get them from point A to B and not deduct like joy from their life. Because I could have easily put him on poverty calories and got him down a lot quicker, but he wanted to enjoy life. Like there was a couple weeks where he had to go to, like, I can't remember what job he does exactly, but it's something to do with sports, and he was like going to like a tennis kind of event, and he was like walking around all the time, and we just had like a deload that week because fatigue was so high.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
but yeah, happy for him. He's like 8.5, nearly 9 kilos down, and we're gonna start his gaining phase next week. So excited for that, mate.
Love that, man. Love that. Good stuff. Um, did you get questions?
I did. I actually got a really nice message from a guy actually.
Is it?
Yeah. Right. I'll read it because he asked a question as well. He basically said, like, hey mate, firstly, just wanted to say thoroughly enjoying the podcast. It's so refreshing listening to two good mates have a chin wag about topics you truly love.
Mm,
He was basically just saying that he wanted to hear our views regarding his current situation. So he's in a gaining phase. He's
yeah.
currently coaching himself. He works shift work every second week, and due to bad lack of sleep, due to having four small kids, he's noticed a lot of fluctuations in weight
Mm,
in those particular weeks where he's doing shift work. And he was saying, how would we as coaches determine if like he was a client whether to increase calories or not?
mm.
Do you want to go?
I think it's like that's obviously as soon as kids come into the situation, things do get a little bit harder,
Mhm.
especially like if you've got four kids and your work pattern isn't
It's very
that
erratic.
manageable. Like it's very like erratic, like it's crazy. Um yeah, it is hard because obviously your fluctuations are just going to be down to like your meal timings are probably going to be off because you do 1 week where you're eating at this time, and then if you're on shift, it's going to get harder naturally
Mhm.
to try and stick to that, depending on what he does for work. Um, Obviously, there's so much that can like cause a fluctuation on the scale as well. So like four kids, without him even realizing, his stress levels are going to be pretty high.
Yeah.
Um, his sleep schedule is going to massively affect that because I think something that people don't quite understand is that you have like two types of stress. So you have like physical stress and metabolic stress. So physical stress is like if you are worried about something, or I think physical stress is stuff that you can actually feel,
Yeah,
whereas
so like
metabolic,
CNS and PNS fatigue.
so it's like metabolic stress is literally like the stuff that we might go through like a leg session and things like that. You're right. Um, through like a leg session, if you have a really heavy leg session or you're tired, like that's stuff that's inside of us that we might not see, but our body is under fatigue and stress. So um I have it really common after I smash my legs, my weigh-ins always fluctuate. Like I'm always holding a little bit more water just
Yeah,
because
my weigh in literally a day. Like I did legs pull. Well, yeah, legs pull yesterday, which is my most demanding day of the week, and that's going to
yeah,
cause a huge amount of stress.
yeah,
I'm always a kilo up after that, and that's just due to
yeah,
water retention stress.
yeah,
Um, I think for his situation in particular, the thing you need to be, you know, the main concern for you should be your average weight throughout the week
yeah. I was gonna say that.
because you know it like Cameron said, weight fluctuations are going to happen every single day, and there's going to be so many factors that come into that. Like Cameron said, stress is going to be one of them. The volume of food you're eating, how much sodium you're consuming.
Uh,
Um, if you need a shit, like small things like that, they're all going to add up. So you're always going to have fluctuations throughout the week. But if you weigh yourself over the week and divide
yeah,
that by 7 at the end of the week, and you give yourself a weekly average,
yeah,
look at that number, and you want to
yeah,
make sure that's trending upwards. Now, you're always going to have a group of people saying, the optimal rate of gain is this and the optimal rate of gain is that. But it's going to differ person to person. I
yeah,
always think a good place to aim is between kind of zero point 0.5 and 1 kilo.
yeah,
Obviously, 1 kilo is going to be accrue kind of more fat gain. But like I said, if you're a very skinny individual, that isn't going to be the case. If you're a heavier person, then go for kind of a lower,
yeah,
steady rate. Um, but looking at your
yeah,
situation, mate, you said you've got kind of your sleep's hectic as well.
yeah,
Um, I would say it's more of a consistency thing you need to worry about in terms of, you know, for your shifts. If getting food in is an issue, make sure you're meal prepping in advance. I understand you have 4 kids, and that is, a hectic situation to be in. But, the gaining phase, we need to make sure we're just consistently hitting our calories on a daily basis. So
Exactly.
look at that trend of weight slowly increasing. And as long as that is going up over time, once that ceases to increase, then that's when you'd add in calories and go from there.
Yeah,
Anything
so I
else
think
to add?
yeah, I would say like don't underestimate just nailing the basics. When you've got hectic schedules like that, you don't want to be adding too much to your schedule. So, like Louis said, if you know you've got a hectic week of coming up with your shifts, let's make sure that the meals are prepped and ready to go. Um, let's be proactive. So, like, not spending too much time on the phone before bed just to try and get as much sleep as we possibly can, and kind of organizing your day around as best as possible for your situation to line yourself up to get that good sleep, enable recovery, which is then going to allow us to make more quality decisions. Um, and yeah, I also think be easy with yourself. Like your situation is a lot different to a lot of people, like 4 kids, hectic work schedule, like you've got a lot going on. So understand it might take a little bit longer for you, but as long as you're striving week in, week out, just to nail the basics of the basics, then I think you'll have a positive trend.
Mm-hmm. One more thing to add to that, because I noticed he said something about his sleep as well. Obviously, like I said, 4 kids trying to sleep, I imagine is very fucking difficult.
Listen,
But you know, there's always, stuff we can implement. So sleep hygiene, make sure you're setting your environment up for, a good environment to sleep in. So I think it's around 18 degrees is like an ideal kind of room temperature. If you have like an active mind at night, I find that using like white noise or a fan really helps me kind of drift off. And sleeping in a cooler environment is always going to be more beneficial, and to fall asleep to, rather than heated environment.
yeah,
Minimize blue light exposure. So
yeah,
that's emitted from your phone screens.
yeah,
If you can, an hour, 2 hours before bed, try limit the amount of blue light exposure, or you can invest in a pair of blue light blockers. You can get them quite cheap on stuff like Amazon.
yeah,
And don't eat anything 90 minutes pre-bed, because we want to avoid digesting food before then. As well as that, stuff like nose strips can help. Breathing through your nose rather than your mouth is
yeah,
found to help with deep sleep.
yeah.
Um, yeah, lavender as well. Like certain smells can help you drift off. But there's a load of stuff. Look into it. But like I said, yeah, it's going to be hard getting to sleep, but there's always stuff we can do to kind of make that environment more favorable. So I hope that
100.
helps you out, mate.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. I think there's definitely, even if it means that you can still only get 5 for whatever hours it is, I think the key then would be to not try and get you to 8 hours, because that's going to be unrealistic if that just can't be done. So then let's make sure the sleep we are getting is good quality sleep. And having like that bedtime routine, um, like Louis said, all of them points there, are all things that we both use with our clients just to get people into good routine. But yeah, that's a
I
tough
think
situation.
I think it's very common for people to kind of hit the fuck it button though. Like
Yeah,
in his, like, and I've been through this myself when when I first became coach, and it was like, if my situation isn't perfect, then fuck it. Do you know what I
fuck
mean?
it.
Like, maybe you won't have like a perfect full day of eating, and you've gone off plan for like one thing, and then you think, oh fuck it, I've already gone off one plan, I'm just gonna fuck the whole day up.
Yeah,
And
literally.
if you can kind of get rid of that mentality early on and just kind of accept, oh, maybe this thing isn't favorable for my day, but I don't have to let, X, Y, and Z also contribute to that. You will put yourself so far ahead of others. So just
Yeah,
because one thing goes wrong, don't make it so much more worse than it needs to be.
100%. Definitely, definitely.
I did get some other questions, mate. Did you want to say one?
I didn't get any.
Oh, you didn't get any.
Roles have reversed. I didn't get any this week.
No worries. I got a couple, and then we can just, I don't know, we can free ball it. So we can just do this for both of us, I guess. Then, lactic addict Luke said best and worst item sold where you work. So I presume he's saying about the gym I work at, because Sainsbury's is quite it's quite a big, vast range. I definitely. Oh, I'll tell you what's best, mate. Have you tried the Oreo grenade bar?
Oh, it's sick, bro.
Mate, it is unreal. I tried it. I swear that chocolate as well. That chocolate on the top is like Cadbury's chocolate. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it doesn't
Literally
taste
tastes
like grenade. Like
no, it
it's
tastes like a Cadbury's bar.
bro. I bit
Um,
into that and I was in disbelief. Like I saw everyone gassing it up and I was just like, it can't be that good. And then I bit
yeah,
into it, I was like,
yeah, like it's banging. Listen, it doesn't taste anything like Oreo, but it's fucking good. It's like a
yeah.
chocolate.
It's just like the chocolate, and it the best way I can describe it is like someone's got like an Oreo like stamped on it repeatedly and put a little bit of sand in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's got like a little bit of grittiness, and you're a bit
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. As if you was to scrape the top of an Oreo.
exactly.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
but yeah, I'd definitely
Um,
say that's the best for me.
there's the best at the Feel Good Factory. Um, I actually can't have one because they just would mess up my macros so peak. But Dan bought these protein flapjacks from Big Moose or Moose, something,
I,
whatever it is.
I know what you're talking about. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
the supplement company. Bro, it's the best flapjack I've ever eaten in my life. I only had a little try of his one, but it's got 453 calories in and it's got 23 grams of fat, but only 15 grams of protein. Like it would
the
literally
bulk.
stuff me. Huh?
Good for the bulk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if you were bulking, Jesus Christ. And it's not even like it's dense as well, but it is genuinely beautiful. And
What
then worst
flavor?
thing at the gym, he's got these Aspire uh energy drinks and they are whack.
Really?
Disgusting. They're like them healthy energy, so they've got no caffeine in, but it's like natural energy.
Mm,
Bro, they are dead, mate.
yeah,
They are.
vegan energy, mate. Um, I'm just trying to think. Worst thing, I haven't tried it, but there's like a keto. It's like a keto peanut butter brick, and it looks so dead. It literally looks like someone's put peanut butter in the fridge. Like anything keto, mate, I just see it and I'm just like, I don't like it. Like
Pissed off.
anything keto just pisses me off. I know there's going to be someone listening and it's like, I fucking love keto. My mum
Yeah.
loves keto. Like, she swears
Yeah.
by it. And I try, mate, the amount of times I've been like, let me write you a diet plan because you go through this phase of like dieting and it'll be like 2 months and then she'll come back off it and then she'll gain all the weight back. And I'm just like, let me help you out. I'm a qualified PT, bro.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
£400 a month.
Yeah. Trust me. Um, had someone else say best and worst experiences at the gym. Um,
We spoke about worst the other day, innit?
Worst. Yeah, I was trying to think of something
That's
else.
the most embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say, but like worst would be that like I've had some dickheads in the gym. To be fair, like not like I've never got into a scrap, but I've had some people who've just been like, just like I've tried giving people advice before, and I've done that like twice in my like life, and I've realized, yeah, I'm just gonna not try help people anymore.
Oh,
Like that, and it's always like the old heads. Like I went
yeah.
up to a guy once, and he was doing like there was a guy at my old gym. I never went up to him, but I really wanted to say it. He used to do like dumbbell rows with like 60 kilo like dumbbells, and this guy must have been like, I don't know, like 40 kilos himself.
Oh,
But like he was literally just going like that,
just
literally
like
like tugging himself
wanking.
up or something. Yeah, exactly. Um, but like there was some old guy in the gym doing like a lat pull down once, and I tried offering him some advice, and he just basically told me to shut the fuck up, and I was just like, okay.
Honestly, it's the worst, bro. Like when you see them people doing it, um, don't even like if this is to anybody listening, don't even try and help them because
Mm.
they are going to be stuck in their ways. They're not going to change anything. Like you just have to leave them where they're at
They
and let
always
them.
think it's like an ego thing as well. Like they think you're going over and you're just being like, "Oh, I'm better than you." I'm like, "Mate, I'm trying to help you out so you can get better at what you're doing." Like I'm not saying you're shit. I'm just saying what you can be doing this
Yeah,
in a more efficient way.
yeah,
But
literally. The worst experience I have, you know what? It was actually wasn't too long ago. Um, so I was training and I was waiting for a bench and like um say so there's mirrors here and then the benches all come here. There's
yeah,
probably about 6 benches, but then the dumbbell rack is about maybe 4 5 steps away from that. So like mirrors here, dumbbell benches here, and um the rack is here, right? So I'm waiting by the rack, and there's this boy. He must have been about he's older than us. He must have been maybe 25, I reckon. He was ego lifting shoulder press to shit, and it was terrible. But I was like, I'm not going to say anything. And his friend is chucking up bicep curls, and they were chucking the weights on the floor, right? So I was thinking already, like, you are a dick, mate. They were like lobbing it. It was like they wanted to break the floor, like
Mhm.
chucking it down. I was like, all right, like let them crack on. Um, and then um, they're done with them. This geezer's using the 28s, and he walks. So he gets up from the bench and he walks over to the rack, and he drops the 28s on the floor. And I shit you not, he was this far away from putting them on the bottom shelf,
Oh yeah, no, I remember you saying this.
and he just lobbed them on the floor. And my blood was boiling. I was like, no, I haven't just seen that. Like, I actually have not just seen him do that.
Mhm.
Um, and then he bopped off like he had a stone in his shoe. Um, I was like, you are a cock, mate. But you can get that with David Lloyd's. Like, to be honest, I'm really thinking about joining Muscleworks. But
Do it,
if I
do
join
it.
Muscleworks, I'll be spending £230 a month on gym membership
How comes?
because I wouldn't cancel David Lloyd because I like using the bar for recovery.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'm a bit like shit.
Well, I mean, you could look join Muscleworks, cancel David Lloyd, and then we can just like make a sauna. I actually no, nah. I was gonna say no. Why? If you wanted to, because the one I work at, you can get a day pass for £9.95, and that has a sauna. So I mean, if you
Yeah,
just want to pop in it every now and then, but it's up to you, innit? Your decision, bro. I
um,
just say it so we could just train together and shit.
yeah, I'll still come anyway. Fuck it.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
Uh,
Um,
on, what's next?
I've no, that's it. That's it. Yeah, I only had two questions.
That's all right.
All right.
Uh, let's talk about things that we want to talk about then.
Okay. What do we?
I
What?
want. I think I have a topic. I wanted to
Oh,
make a video on this for a while.
oh,
Um, I just want to talk about people's tempo and intensity when training.
yes.
So I like, and this is just for like educational purposes only, but I just want people to understand that doing something quick doesn't mean you are really good and really strong at it because the only thing you're really training is your ego because so often you see it. And I think I want to talk about this so much because I see it so much at my gym.
It's definitely the most. I'd say it's the most common thing that if people just made that flick, they would not believe the amount of progress and like how quickly you can just turn stuff around. I think especially as well is like the connection to the actual movement because I remember
Yeah.
when I first started getting coached, I never did any tempo work prior to
Mm.
that. And I remember the first time like I slowed down a movement and I was like, holy shit,
Yeah,
like this
it's
is how it's
madness.
supposed to feel.
Yeah, and I think like that is like so important. So for anybody listening, if you rush your reps, me and Louis can just give you a couple of tips to help, right?
Mhm.
One, Louis already said it, slow everything down and focus on both portions of the movement. So the eccentric and the concentric, slow them both down. A lot of people think that there's nothing to gain from the eccentric, but actually there is a lot to gain from it. And you, I think the number one thing from this is it's going to help you so much in the long term because when you do everything as best as you possibly can in that moment, there's going to be no injuries. Like it will only be something unlucky or a little fuck up every now and again that might lead you to getting injured. But other than that, it is going to improve your training so much. So one, focus on both portions of the movement. If you are doing a dumbbell flat bench press and you find that you are bouncing at the bottom of it every time and you're rushing your reps, one, aim for 2 to 3 seconds from top to bottom. If you find yourself bouncing out, but your tempo is good, add a little pause at the bottom.
I was gonna say I
Take
always implement a pause.
yeah, take any momentum out of it, push back up 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Do this on every single exercise. And one, watch how much quicker you progress. Two, watch how much weight you probably have to drop to do that and hit rep range in a good way. And three, just how much better it's going to feel, like
Mm.
the connection. And I know mind muscle connection doesn't determine anything, but it's always good to be able to feel a movement.
I agree. I agree with what you said there. I mean, in terms of like mind muscle connection, I think, especially for beginners, this is what I think that slowing down the movement. The reason we slow down a movement as well, guys, is because the majority of the muscle breakdown occurs in the mid to lengthened portion of the movement. So when you go, let's take a bicep curl, for example, right? This is the concentric phase. So when you're shortening the muscle, that isn't where most of the breakdown actually occurs. So when people are doing bicep curls, majority of people probably think, oh, you do that. That's where it's the most of muscle breakdowns occurring. But it's actually when you kind of lower the weight and your muscle is going through that mid to lengthen portion. That's when the majority of the breakdown occurs. And if you're rushing through your movement, you're not spending a lot of time in that portion. So you're going to get less breakdown, which means you're going to you're not going to have as much repair to go through, which means you're not going to grow muscle tissue, because that's all muscle growth is. You're breaking down the muscle and you're building it back up. And if you're not breaking down the muscle effectively, there's going to be nothing to grow back. So you see these people, everyone who goes to the gym has them in that gym where you go there for years, you've seen the same guy, he looks the exact same way, and he is progressing, but in reality, all he's doing is lifting with his ego. He's not actually, challenging the muscle he's intending to challenge. He's moving the weight with, his body. He's not actually feeling it in the target place. And I think especially for beginners, even though, like Cameron said, sensation isn't massively important. Like, I've noticed it, especially as I've increased. I feel like when you get to a certain kind of level of weight, sensation really does kind of fade away. But for a beginner, I think if they can kind of feel how it feels for a muscle to be targeted, that is like a important thing for them to kind of understand.
I really, really do agree with that. So yeah, that's one thing that you see a lot. Like, you just see people just chucking it about, and like, okay, it might feel good if you can chuck the 50s up and do 7 reps, but every single one of them reps is shit. Why don't we just drop down to 40, 35 and execute perfectly, or as close to perfect as we can? Listen, every rep's not going to be perfect, because as fatigue builds up, one, reps are, well, if you're training hard enough, your reps should be slowing down, because that muscle is finding it harder and harder to get into that short position, to get fully contracted. So that's another thing as well that I see, like with a lot of new people coming to PT. It's like, if you're working with an RPE scale on someone, because you're not going to get a beginner to absolutely bust their balls, because they're probably going to end up getting injured, is that their first rep looks the same as their last rep, but they're going to say that it's probably an 8 or a 9 out of 10. But actually, that's not what we want at all. Like, if your first rep and your last rep look the same, then we probably need to address something here, because you're not, well, you're not maximizing the gains as per se. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's something, like, genuinely, if there was one thing that if there was one video that I think I could make go absolutely viral, would probably be up there. Like, because it would just help everyone so much. And everyone, like, there's so much to gain from it. Like, in terms of, one, what it can do for you, two, how it can make that muscle feel, and three, just not putting yourself at a massive risk when you're chucking the 50s up and your elbows, wrists, shoulders are just screaming at you.
And it always makes me laugh. Like, I remember what, like, I recently took on a client called Joe, and I've like, we go over his form assessments, and he always makes me crease, because he's just like, no, bro, I had nothing left. And I'll be like, mate, look, I've looked at it and I know you have stuff left. And he's like, you don't understand. I was like, for anyone watching, when you're training till failure, the number one tell that when you're in a close proximity to failure is the speed of your concentric, which is the shortening phase of the movement. So if that is as quick as your first couple reps, then you still have some in the tank. That last rep should be a real struggle to fully shorten. And you can always tell when you're close to failure because people can make facials, people can, make loads of sound, but like if it's still moving quick, you're not close. So I always say, it's a lot harder to do because I mean, training till failure is a real skill. A lot of people I think see it, and some people think, oh, these people are putting on like an act, like yelling, going all red, all this kind of thing, and people think, oh, they're definitely just like trying to like impress people. But like when you're taking a movement to all out failure, it is very, very, very demanding, and it hurts, and it's not a pleasant experience, and that's why it is a skill. But what I always say to clients is, just if it moves and you can, if you get that rep, just go for another one. Yeah, obviously, be smart with, what movement you're taking that with. Like, for example, a deadlift and RDL, you can take it to failure, but probably not all the way to failure compared to something where you're seated in a machine and it's a lot safer. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But for most movements, when you're in a machine setting, and nothing really bad's going to happen if you go all out to failure. Just try take it there and practice. Feeling what that is like, because I remember, like with leg press, for example, I used to be scared of going to failure because I thought, what if I get crushed by the machine? And I set it up so like that was impossible to happen. And I remember the first time, like I literally hit all out failure and it came back down, and I was just like, oh, nothing's gonna actually happen. If you get comfortable with that feeling, then that kind of fear goes away. So like if that's something that's holding you back, practice with a lighter weight, see what it actually feels like, and then build back up and go from there.
100%. And I think that I've just created our own question.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite exercise in terms of like pushing to failure? Which one creates the most amount of pain for you? Like you genuinely think every time you do it, like this is actually unbearable. I've got one in my head.
Leg extensions. Leg extensions for me is just like literally from like 3 reps in, I'm like, holy fuck, this hurts so much.
Why do my fucking quads feel like this?
Yeah. And I think that's something where you see people, I think a lot of people mistake the pain for being close to failure. And a lot of that, if I'm not mistaken, is just lactic acid. I literally said lactic addict Luke then. Lactic acid.
Every time I see that, I was like, does he call himself lactic addict Luke because he loves training to failure?
Yeah, he does. He's such a sound guy. But yeah, like it's normally just a buildup of lactic acid, which is that really kind of like burning sensation. But like I said, don't mistake that for being failure. You will know when your reps slow down. But yeah, leg extensions, I don't think there's anything like it.
That is next level.
Mm.
Have you got any topics? Anything been on your mind recently that you want to make content on?
I'm just trying to think.
What did you upload today? What did you talk about today?
I know I'm gonna get some controversy for this already, but basically I said the importance of like noting down your setup for like movements you're doing. And the only reason I said this is because I've had it before where I'll go into a session, I will do a movement and it won't feel the same as it did last week prior because my whole setup's been different. And I think it's an important topic because look, I know there's going to be someone who looks at it and thinks like I'm looking too much into it, but my content is aimed at people who are, looking to get the most out of training. So I understand for, Becky down the road who's just going to the gym 5 days a week. Maybe it's not, her be all and an end all, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, if you are wanting to maximize your progression, understand that, let's say for a leg extension, for example, right? You can adjust where the leg pad starts, right? And if that's different every single week, the amount of reps you're going to be able to get is going to be different. Because if you're going through a greater range of motion, that's going to be more taxing on the muscle. And if you're looking at trying to progress your reps every single week and, your setup doesn't feel the same or it's different, that one, for me, I know it pisses me off. Like if I sit into a movement and I'm like, this doesn't feel the same or something's up here, I can feel that straight away, and if you're like, I'm a bodybuilder. Cam's into physique development, and I know he's probably gonna he'll probably battle going down this road as well, because I'm always trying to look at optimal, but I'm trying to look at balance as well. But I feel like everyone can benefit from this,
Yeah. I must say,
yeah.
I've flipping struggle with it, man. I really do, because I follow bodybuilders, but I also follow. It's hard because I'm so in the middle of everything that I flipping struggle, and I think it's why I struggle to bring out a lot of content as well, because I'm not targeting just bodybuilders, but I'm into physique development, but I'm also into loads of other things, and I genuinely understand both sides. Like you're on TikTok, right?
Yep.
I want you. Have you got your phone now, or you're using your phone?
Yeah.
That was the best piss ever. Anyways, sorry. What did you want me to do? Go onto TikTok.
Yeah, there's a guy called Welsh Italian Fitness. Let me know if you've seen him before.
I feel like I know the name.
He acts all the bodybuilders.
Oh yeah, I know this guy. No, the thing is, right, and I know exactly what you're going to say, and it is a very hard thing. And something I've learned to do is just, bro, not everyone's going to like your content. There is going to be people who call you out on certain things, and a lot of it comes from, I feel like a lot of it is from knowing stuff, but I understand as well there is an aspect of overcomplicating things, and I understand that someone who isn't trying to do all this stuff is always going to be there is a lot of stuff you're kind of overthinking, but then again,
I understand both sides of it.
Was it? Oh yeah, I know this guy. He made me crazy. He posted something the other day and it went viral, and it was just oh, I'm gonna do this, and it was just a clip of someone saying, "Oh, don't do this," and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this instead," and it was just
yeah. And it was all the people in
the fitness industry who were really big.
Yeah, and even he included some smaller ones as well, like Morgan Rushton. I followed.
Didn't he call him a failed footballer or something? That made me crazy. He was just I'm not gonna take advice from a failed footballer. I was like, bro, is just sending shots. He just didn't give a fuck. Yeah, bro.
Listen, I don't think that guy's approach is the best.
But I think he gets views. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's why he does it. I'm sure he's actually a nice bloke. He doesn't seem like a problem. He just seems like he's doing things with the greatest of intentions. But yeah, I do understand where he comes from as well. I fit into both categories where, I think it's all good looking to optimize your training. I think that's brilliant. But I think it's the statements where this is better than that, and you must do this instead of that. But it's actually person to person. I might do bar.
That's the biggest thing, It's person to person, and I think there's such a big blank space there where people just think, oh, because this is the best way in terms of bodybuilding, this is the best for everyone. Something I've seen before, and I'm no, that isn't important. It's when someone's oh, if everyone should be meal time, timing everything, and getting a protein spike every single, I can't remember. I think it's every 3 hours, at MPS, optimal. And don't get me wrong. Yeah, is that going to be good, for people to progress? Yeah, if they're in the 1% and they want to nail everything. But is that going to be, the be all and end all for Sandra, with 3 kids? No. Just worry about the protein goal,
100%. And I think it's one of them ones where I understand people, and I think it's great that you want to optimize your training, but I also think, listen, we might do the exact same volume, but you do it on dumbbell bench press and I do it on a barbell bench press. You might grow better on a dumbbell than a barbell. I might grow better on a barbell than a dumbbell. And it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And I think it's very overwhelming, especially I think it's okay for us because we can appreciate both sides of it. But I think for people who are coming into the industry or who are looking to get into the gym, mate, I would be lost. I would actually be lost.
My best advice is just, keep it simple until you have a reason to get it to that. Because, when I first started, the one thing I was worried about is like worry about hitting your calorie target for whatever your goal is, training consistently, and
Yeah,
nailing the basics in terms of like getting good sleep, because you can make amazing
100%.
progress from that. But like, say
Genuinely.
for example, you then go down the bodybuilding route, and then your
Yeah,
goal is then to make sure, I'm putting on enough muscle, like as much
yeah,
as possible, because I'm going from a competitive standpoint. Fair
yeah.
enough. Then you can look into
Then
like all this optimal stuff, because that
100%.
makes sense. And it's it's
Yeah.
it's fine if you want to be that person who wants to do that just from a lifestyle basis as well, but you don't have to shove that down everyone's throat and say this is better than
No.
the other. And like, it's a hard thing to say as well, because like, we can always measure like stimulus like being applied from, said movements, but like, it's so
Mm.
hard for someone to say like, oh, I grew better from this compared to this, and it's going to
How
work.
do you know it was just that made you
Yeah,
bloody
bro,
grow,
you
you
don't know your
fatty?
genetics. You don't know like how what well you're going to respond compared to someone else's. So it's a very hard thing, and especially like unless you're doing a scientific study, which I heavily fucking doubt, because you're 12 years old and all you do is like drink monsters and say disease, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, oh mate, that I can't even cap. Like, that was me. Like, I literally was that part of the culture. But
That is brilliant.
yeah.
Um, yeah, honestly, I look at it and I just think, oh wow, like, come on, man. Like, yeah, it is tough. It is tough. But if anybody has a coach here and they are saying you need to do this because this, and that, and they're very, very one-sided about it, and they kind of have a fixed mindset with that, take it with a pinch of salt
Mm,
because it is, and like I think having done some time in this now and seeing many different people, it is all person to person relevant. Like it genuinely is. Every single person you meet and you talk to is going to be so different, it's going to shock you.
mm.
And you'll have people who are quite similar, and that'll be fine. But you have to be ready for the fact that some people are going to be different. And what works for one might not work for the other. And you know who I really like at the moment, and I think is doing really flipping well, is Christian.
Christian. Oh mate, Christian's a fucking G, bro. Like
He's a
he knows the balance, because he's worked with so many people. Like, the majority of his clients as well are lifestyle clients, but because he's in that
yeah,
bodybuilding world. And like, when I was coached by him, it was something I noticed, because I feel like, I don't know, it's hard to say, because I've been with coaches who have been like extremely regimented, and I understand like the mindset they have, but like, I feel
yeah,
like I've said it before on this podcast, it is a skill to understand each person's individual needs. And
yeah.
Christian was so, like, that's the reason he's so good, bro. Like,
He's unbelievable.
I'd have weeks where I was just like, I felt shit, and I was like, I like had a really shit week, and like, he was like, that's all right. Like, weeks aren't gonna be perfect, and like, even though it was shit, he didn't just pass it off as just like, oh, it's a shit week, continue to do a shit week. He would say like, look, this is a shit week. It's happened because of this, and you could just tell he understood, and he didn't
Yeah,
like, he wasn't like, oh, you have to do this, you have to make sure we're doing this now, you have to cut back on
yeah,
that. And I feel like understanding your clients is such an underappreciated skill, because he doesn't just look at people for. I feel like a lot of coaches look at people as like highlighter reels, and they're like, this person has to be this so I can show this off and get more clients. He sees
yeah,
people fucking people, and he doesn't care
yeah.
about the optimal rate of loss. He doesn't care about, getting person to peak condition, or doing what's going to blow this person up. He does whatever's going to make that person be happy and consistent, and that's why he's so fucking good.
Mate, I genuinely think what you've just said is genuinely one of the best things I've heard. Like, honestly, the way you've described him is, and I might even clip this and put it on Instagram. Like,
Mm.
I think I think that, no, it's not think, that is what I aim to do. Like,
Christian is one of the coaches. Like, I would, if I could be half the coach Christian is, I would be content, because it, like, honestly,
yeah,
mate, I cannot, like, even though I'm not with him now, he is an amazing fucking coach. And the only reason
yeah,
I like left him was because I wanted like, my goal now is to be like a very good natty bodybuilder, and
Yeah.
his experience is coaching more of like the assisted side of things, and I
Yeah.
just wanted someone who had walked that walk. For
Yeah.
me, so that's
Yeah.
why I swapped coaches. But if it wasn't for that, I would have stayed with him till like the fucking end.
Yeah. Mate, he honestly like um yeah, he is a top guy, mate. And I listen, I've never been coached by him. I've
Mm.
only seen him at the
Coach convention, didn't you?
coach convention, and I followed him during the event, and he followed me back during the event. So I was like looking around for him. I was gonna see if he
He
like
was,
recognized. I was like, "You're right, mate."
yeah.
But no, he is a top man, and I'm saying I think that's is what you can tell is important. I'm saying that I don't even hardly know him.
And the
I've never
crazy
been
thing
coached by
is,
him or
like, bro,
anything.
he blew up. Like, because I remember, I followed him quite a while back, and I remember seeing a post where he initially quit his job, and like, bro, like he
Yeah,
recently like bought like the newest McLaren you can have, like the newest
and then he bought
electric one, like 2 days later, and I'm just like, and he's opening a gym this year, like, bro, is just
How
like,
did you know that?
huh?
How do you know that?
What? He's opening a gym?
Yeah.
Huh? Because I saw him talk about it. He put it on his what's it called story a couple of days ago. Like no, he did a podcast. I think it's called like the TMP podcast. It was like
Oh, total mental
performance,
performance.
and he's like one of his goals is like he's opening a gym.
Yeah. So I had a conspiracy about this because
Yeah,
back end of last year he went and viewed a unit,
yeah. I knew
and
I
he
knew he was gonna do something like that anyway, and it made me laugh.
100%. I saw it, and then he said, oh, "I've got some big things that are going to cost a lot of money this year, and all this." And I was like,
Gym.
"Hmm." I was like, "He's opening a gym, and I'm going to go
Yeah.
there."
I'm just trying to
We'll
think of
take a
what
day
to
trip
call
there.
it. I know it's just gonna have like a joke's name or
Mhm.
something. I feel like it won't be
It's
serious.
going to be It's going to be flipping funny, innit?
Yeah.
It's going to be called Trust the Process, bro.
Yeah. Or just no, be called like the trenches or something.
Let's go to the trenches, bro.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah, he's class, man.
what else? What else? What have we spoke about today? Optimal
Um,
again. Well,
optimal.
it's very important.
Do
How
you know
good of
what
a
I wanted
coach
to?
Christian is.
Do you know what I wanted to talk about? Like I was talking to someone. Someone messaged me regarding coaching early in the week and was like asking about prices and all this kind of stuff, and was saying like I was basically explaining to him like how coaching like as don't get me wrong, it's a luxury and I understand that, but like I was trying to
Mm,
I basically opened his eyes in the sense of like how if you cut back on some certain things that could be holding you back in life can actually like take you like improve your life like by a huge amount. And what I was saying, the way I worded it was like, say for example, right, you're into drugs, you're into alcohol, and like a lot of people our age are, and it's understandable. Let's say you're going out every single week. Like a lot of people do this, right? And you're
yeah,
spending, I don't know, let's say like, I don't know, 50 £75 each time you go out, right?
minimum.
Of like minimum. And I don't even think that's like, I think that's quite low compared to like some people I know. And if you add that up over the month, you're getting like 400, like 350. Okay. Let's say you cut back on a few drinks here and there, you're not getting as much drugs. You would be able to afford like online coaching, PT, and the way like I've heard so many people talk about it recently on TikTok. Like I keep seeing like these like, oh, if I was 20, this is what I would prioritize. And like I'm not this is like me trying to plug coaching as much as I can. But like
No, it's
they said
good.
like one of the major things a lot of people neglect in their like 20s is their health because you are
Yeah,
just healthy. And I think a lot of people give into, the culture. English culture is like binge drinking.
it is
Um,
bad.
it's like, and it's very, very bad. Like, don't
Yeah,
get me wrong, I used to be that 18-year-old who would go out every single week, but I remember like looking at my bank account and like having no structural routine and thinking like,
yeah,
I need to fix up. And I remember like something that I really struggled with was like a lack of purpose, like
yeah,
a lack of drive and not like knowing what to do. And I'm not going to say like, oh, coaching is going to give you like a drive, but I think like bettering yourself every single week and like having like a target or like a goal which is going
Yeah.
to impact your life in a positive way, and then you achieving that is a very, very kind of is a very rewarding thing.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say to people, like, look, I'm not going to say exactly how much my coaching is, but I promise you, you know, if you cut back like how much drinking you are, you're going to be able to afford it. And
Yeah.
if anyone like, you know, if anyone wants to know like regarding coaching, like it's in my bio and stuff like that, and we can talk about it. But um, yeah, I just wanted to talk about it because, you know, the guy who like I said that to, he was like, oh, I never really thought about it like that.
Yeah. Do you know what I say to people that they don't consider either? Like when you go out and you go out for food or drinks, or if you do drugs, then cool. Um, that's expenses. So that's an expense.
Mm.
I class my coaching, my PT services, these are investments because one,
Yeah, you're investing into
so
yourself.
James Smith said it and he said it with confidence, yeah. One, I will make your life better. And that is a fact. That's like no doubt about it. And he said it and I was like, of course, that's actually true.
You can feel better
I'm gonna
about
make you
yourself.
healthier. Like there's nothing bad that can come from having a coach. And I think people make amendments for money all the time, and I agree that it's a luxury, but you'll go and spend £150 on Nando's a month. You'll go and get a Nando's every weekend, or you'll go to the pub every weekend,
All
or
right, mate, you don't have to send for me because I had Nando's last night.
I saw that. I was
I saw
bare
you like my
jealous.
story and it's just like, yeah, it's fucking 150 quid.
I'm so jealous. But when it comes to like spending that money on themselves, and it's an investment because you are paying for a service that is going to make you better. That is an investment. All of the other stuff is expenses because it costs you money and you don't really get anything back from it. I know if you go to the pub with your friends and you have a good time, you get something back from that. But I think what you get back from coaching is worth that times 10, and it probably makes their memories even better.
Yeah, because you're gonna
Because,
feel more confident in yourself. You're gonna feel like
yeah,
better mentally. You're gonna have more energy. You're gonna be more productive in your day to day because you're gonna have like a more balanced routine. And something
yeah,
like the one thing I always say as well is like, think about how many years you've gone to the gym and you've just haven't made progress. And I know exactly how
yeah,
that feels. I was that
yeah,
16-year-old in the gym trying to eat loads of food, trying to work out and saw no progress. And you're
yeah,
still doing the same shit. Like if you like, and I know it's hard and I respect people putting in that hustle and trying to understand, but like if you just invest, you know, a little bit of, you know, money to benefit yourself as well. Like I pride myself in educating like my
yeah.
clients. I want to get them to a
Oh,
point
mate.
where they can, you know, like, look, if you need me for adherence, and I understand some people want to stay on even when they know how to do stuff because they
Yeah.
want that little pat on the back, you know, to be able to like remain in check. But I pride myself on being able to educate people. So, you know, I can get you from point A to point B, but then you can go off and do this stuff on
Do it by
yourself.
yourself.
You know what I mean?
Mate, I'll give you the tools for you to live a happy, healthy life for the rest of your life.
Mm.
And if
And
that
that's
means you
such an
spend six,
invaluable skill.
yeah, mate, you'll never have to worry about gaining weight again. And when you want to gain weight, you know how to do it correctly. If you put on a couple of pounds, which can happen just from being and living a certain lifestyle, you know exactly how to pull back. If you're going out on the weekend, you know exactly how to do it if you are in a deficit, or if even if you're not in a deficit, if you go out on the weekend and you enjoy yourself, you know that maybe you have to pull back for 1 or 2 days during the week. But like that is with me. I am a lifestyle coach in terms of like the health and fitness thing. Like I am right, you can do this, you can do this, you can do that, and you can have every piece of the pie and all the different pies. But it is like, yeah, it literally nailed on the head. Like, yes, it is a luxury, but ultimately it is going to change your life. And you don't have to do it forever. You don't have to be with us forever. Like you say, you're going to have some people. I've had people tell me that they will PT with me for as long as I'm a PT because they need that in the diary to go, right, I'm seeing Cameron Tuesday and Thursday, 7 a.m.
Mm.
every week because they need that. But some people will need you for 6 months. And yeah, I can't speak on every coach, but I will, and I know we will,
Mm.
provide you with enough knowledge and as much as we possibly can, educate you on how to live a better life. And then you might not need us forever.
Mm.
And
And
that's
I think,
fine.
bro, the amount of times like I've had someone go through the process, and the number one thing is like I've like how much the amount of people I've got into a normal sleep routine, right, and changed their
Yeah.
life just with sleep, and they're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, do you know what I mean? And some of these people are like 30 and they've never,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I know
It's mad.
there's probably bare people listening to this and you're just like, you're just gaslighting us right now. But I swear on my life that I've had people literally say to me, just like, I cannot believe like how much better I feel like for,
Yeah.
eating enough, not starving themselves. Because something else I want to touch on, and I'm sure when it gets to summer, we'll do like a whole episode dedicated to this. But if you like, think about how many times you've been on holiday, and I've done this before I knew about fitness, and you've got a couple, you're like a month away or 2 months away, and you think, right, I need to lose a shit ton of weight. And then you starve yourself, you go to the gym, you do extreme amounts of cardio, you feel
Mm.
depleted. And don't get me wrong, you lose a bit of weight, but then you go on holiday, you're so fucking hungry that you eat everything in sight, and you come back from that holiday feeling worse than when you went there initially. Think
Yeah.
about how much better you would feel if you started earlier. You invested into yourself to have that goal of, right, I want to look fucking killer on this holiday.
Mm.
I deserve this. I want to feel good for myself, and I just want to have a good time. You put in the
Mm.
work, and then you get on holiday. You reverse out of that diet in a smart manner, so you're not going away starving, and
Yeah.
you enjoy food and still look fucking sick. Imagine how much
Bang.
better you would feel, you know?
Yeah.
And this is like what I'm saying in terms of like, yeah, you might have to cut back on a few things, but if that's going to benefit you and make you feel better in yourself,
Yeah.
why would you not do that?
It's a no-brainer, right?
It is a no-brainer, mate.
Yeah. We should do that. We should make an episode maybe like or include it in an episode and we can both like do like a step-to-step process of like how that is achievable,
Do you know what I'd
just in
love to
case.
do, mate? I'd
Go
you
on.
know how you said we should record content together. I'd love to do like a because when is it like what April? It's March next, and if we did it in
Yeah.
like March, then you've got April,
Yeah.
May, June. That's 12 weeks for summer.
Yeah.
We could record like a 12-week summer, like
Yeah.
how to cut down things to avoid, like a
Yeah.
seminar where people can
Okay.
opt in with their email, and we can
Yeah.
just provide tips. We can like help them out, and then like
Should we do it? Let's do that then.
because mate, like I said, I just, for people who don't know, I talked to Cam after the podcast finished last week, and like my goal this year, I literally just want to put in as much fucking effort as I can to grow this
Yeah.
business and help people out. And I literally
Yeah.
just want to help as many people as possible. So yeah, I want to put in that time. I think it'll be sick for us just to sit down, like
Yeah.
brainstorm something, and just be able to, because it'll put our names out there. It'll help people get free
Big
content,
time.
and then if they want to, if that's beneficial to them, they'll see the value, and then
Yeah.
go from there.
100%. We'll do it, mate. We'll
And
do
we
it.
can use your
I'll get
cool
all.
mic as well.
Huh?
We can use your new mic as well.
At the moment, it's just sitting in this bloody black bag. I'm gonna film something today. I'm
Yeah,
gonna film something today. Um, no, I enjoyed that.
yeah,
I think it's good that even if we don't get loads of questions whilst it's growing, etc. Do you how many? Oh no, we'll talk about that after.
yeah.
We'll talk about listeners and stuff. Um, but like even just having a couple of topics because I think there's always going to be topics in our head where we just go, "Oh, I saw this the other day in the gym. Let's talk about that." And
Mm.
um, yeah, even if like, listen, is I'm happy that you got two questions. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean?
It's
Like
better than
that's
nothing,
so
you know what I
cool.
mean?
Literally.
Improvement on last week.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, and then I got another nice message, but it's on the phone that I'm filming on
Yeah,
from Joe, and he just said about how much he's enjoying watching it. But obviously, I'm sure a lot more people probably listen to it than watch it,
yeah.
just because of convenience and timings, etc. Because they are like an hour long and stuff. But
Mm.
um, no, it is. I really, I know I said it last week, but I'm really enjoying doing these.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't know. I like it. It's very nice just to, and I know I keep saying it every week, but to speak to someone who has the same level of passion, I just it's very nice,
Mate,
mate.
I care so much. It's actually stupid.
That's what I'm saying, mate.
I care
Like, and
so much.
like after seeing that Guzman video I watched yesterday, that like
Oh,
lit a fire in
mate.
my belly. Like seeing him like
Oh,
achieve all these goals and like bro, literally everything he said, he was like, I'm gonna get a gym, done it. I'm gonna make a clothing brand, done it. Like it's
done it.
crazy.
You're like, actually, maybe it is possible.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So like
Bro,
I
that,
just wanna
ah,
I feel like I've just got a fire in my belly this year. I don't know
yeah,
what happened, but it's just like, yeah, no more messing
it's
around,
good.
mate. This year's gonna be
No,
it.
it has to be, bro. It has to be. And if it's not, and even if you don't make all the progress you want to make this year, as long as you've made improvements, then mate, you're one step closer.
1% better every day and that.
You know it, cousin.
All right, sweet.
Um,
Do you want to
Wicked,
call it
man.
there?
Yeah, wicked.
All right.
Sounds good.
Cheers for watching, guys. If
Thank
you
you very
do have
much.
any topics you want us to cover,
Yeah,
send me or Cam a DM. I'm underscore Lou Wright on Instagram. What you can.
I'm Cam Willow underscore with two M's.
Cool, cool. We'll put a question box up, so watch our stories as well.
Yeah,
If you do have any questions, but if you do have any topics you want us to cover, do send those over DM and we'll consider those for next time. But yeah, give us a rating as well on Spotify. Give us 5
yeah,
stars because that helps us out a lot. Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
Wicked.
thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you
Thanks
next
very
week.
much.
Peace.